Yo, welcome back to our other episode for our podcast Outside the Box.
Episode number two.
And yeah, episode number 2. And today we will be talking about the topic immigrant discrimination, like the effects of it, and then pretty much the solution, like what can we do as a whole society to make our loving immigrants have a better life here. So yeah, should we get started?
I think I
Yeah.
think I think we're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty much like where we explained like over these past years, nearly 45.1 million immigrants lived in the United States. In 2014-16, the immigrant population increased by 1.9 million. With this amount of immigrants, the percentage of the immigrant population is 13.6 in the year 2021, and like from data recorded, Latin America and Asia have the highest percentage of immigrants living in the United States. Well, specifically Mexico and India. Basically, so like the current situation, is like basically like what are the effects as soon as like the immigrants arrive. So it just affects their like mental health and their physical, and like it affects that their lower levels of life satisfaction. So I have a question to you guys right now. Is like, well, like in your perspective, like how can we like solve this?
I don't feel it's really like a way to solve it because like it happens everywhere. If you're someone that's different and you go to places that full of people who are different than you, you're gonna always gonna be subjugated to some kind of form of
Discrimination.
discrimination of sorts. It's always gonna be if I go to China, but they're discriminating for being Mexican, they're gonna stare at me. Always it's always gonna happen. If a white man from here goes to Mexico, he's always gonna get stared. He might even get robbed, man.
And like Charon Agawa, like do you think like what is like is this problem significant to you or like from your family? Because I know we're both Hispanic. Like is this problem like more something that you care or like significant towards you and towards your family?
Oh no, not at all, bro. We just work, we get up, eat, work, go back, watch TV and go to sleep. We don't really give a lot
Uh,
of insight on that. We have more important stuff to do, like
what about
working.
you, Jesse? Like, is this something significant to you as well?
It's not really something I consider significant. However, I could say that it's prevalent like every day. Like no matter where you go, you could always like find some semblance of this discrimination if you look hard enough.
Okay. What about you, Michael?
As an immigrant myself, I feel like this is like really significant to me. However, I haven't really experienced this type of discrimination in my
Mm-hmm.
community. It's not really like that like out there. But like
Mm-hmm.
if that were to happen, like discrimination, if I were to see it, I feel like that would like affect me as an immigrant a lot.
Yeah, like mentally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like in our class, sociology, this will like bring major like bad impacts towards the future. Either way, like with with the childs, with the new generation. And I have like another question with you guys. Do you guys think that there's a solution to this problem? And like why or why not?
I don't really
No
think
solution,
that
bro.
there will ever be a solution. I mean, honestly, like the solution can be like something that like to lower discrimination, but it can't really like prevent discrimination. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like that's what I well like try to mean like just like something like to prevent it like a little bit more often, so it could make the immigrants feel like a little bit more safer to live in the US.
Yeah,
Well, not really
I
though.
think you just
I feel like there can be. I guess it's like media and laws can help.
Yeah. I mean like for me like one solution that could be is just like you know how like all over these years like when there's been always discrimination, racial discrimination, like people like take action like doing a movement and like getting their voices heard and like make forcing the government to pass down a law like to fix this. So do you guys think like passing down a law like just like the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is like it protects the immigrants like with laws like this discrimination towards immigration is prohibited in hiring, promotion, discharge, pay, fringe benefits, job training, classification, uh referral, and other aspects of employment. So, do you guys think based on the example of this Civil Rights Act, do you think that there could be more that could prevent this discrimination in the U.S.?
Not really, because these laws, the ones you mentioned, right? They go
Mm-hmm.
after the law aspect of it, right? But the problem right now
Mm-hmm.
with like discrimination against immigrants is mostly based on societal, and you can't expect a lot to solve societal problems. It's only something that society can solve themselves. So let's
Yeah.
say people are being like racist to me as a Mexican, right? There's not really much I
Yeah.
can do about it.
Yeah.
Is what I can do more is try to prevent the stigma, like what you said earlier, like media, making people more aware, because that'll
Yeah, and
change their social stance on that.
the fact that a lot of people from non-Hispanic will be like once they interact with Hispanic people, they just expect them to be Mexican. So I think that's just kind of like a discrimination. So what do you think, Jesse, about that?
I think the problem about that is that it's definitely racial. However, calling it like heavily like discriminatory is like a bit too
Yeah,
much, I believe, because the American population, as you know, is knowledgeable. So to have like a immigrant of Latino descent coming into the States and identifying them as Mexican is just
yeah,
like a bit more part of ignorance, I feel.
Yeah, bro.
mm,
Yeah, and I also feel like that's like a problem of media, because like it's probably like people
yeah.
ought to assume that the Hispanics immigrants are Mexicans, because like media only mostly portrays Mexicans as like immigrants compared
Those
to like
border
other
hoppers, right?
Hispanics where they don't.
Agreed.
But also because from the old people crossing the border, illegal or illegally in the past couple couple decades, right? They've always been the same colors as the people that live on the other side of the border. So those people just assume.
Yeah.
So I have a question
So
for you, Miguel. So if someone were to see you and Charon together, would you say that them calling you both Mexican is a racial attack?
I mean, for me, my whole life experience, like a lot of people just assumed that I was Mexican just because of the color of my skin and like how I look like. I'll take that actually as a racial discrimin like a bad thing, let's just say that. Because I prefer like people identifying me as Ecuadorian, but in my whole life people just thought I was like Mexican because when I was little they'll be asking what part am I from, let's just say Michoacan, Sinaloa, and I don't know, and I just be saying that I'm not Mexican. So yeah, I think that's me personally, it's just um a discrimination that I would take.
Also happens to everyone too. Like for example, when I met Miguel, I actually he was Mexican. Like, oh, you were Mexican? No, where are you
Yeah,
from? Exactly. Even me, like being a same cousin, I assume he's a Mexican because most people in America or Hispanics are Mexican. So just tend to assume, bro. Which is kind of dumb. People should be a little bit less ignorant on the fact. There's other countries other than Mexico.
with this well, this brings into a bigger effect to those young immigrants, because with that, them being called stereotypically bad, let's just say they're obviously called Mexican, or immigrants go back to Mexico and all that stuff. I researched about this, that saying with these type of discrimination because of their undocumented parents and also themselves, they bring a bad an influence, and also it affects their relationship with the families as well. Cause
And that is
my bad, channel. Cause basically I read this book where research, or as a resource. So there's this kid who was racially discriminated just because he was an immigrant along with his parents, and that thing affected him, a bad relationship with his father in the future. So that's just pretty much it. So yeah, overall, the one thing we could do right now is, for this podcast, for example, we could just spread out the word. Let's just say for right now, for example, we're doing a podcast about this, and we could just spread it out through social media, and gain a lot of views from and perspectives from other people across the media. So yeah, I guess pretty much this is the end of our podcast, of our episode. and our next episode will be like more specific towards the immigrant discrimination. See you guys later. Next episode.